with him since the first moment he began boxing, Ray Ontiveros.
You get the impression, Jim, that Juarez and his team are trying to sandbag, in a sense, the champ, poor-mouthing themselves, saying what a great fighter Barrera is, never giving him anything to put on a fire. But they believe that a strong, young, ambitious puncher like him will win the fight.
He held a 126-pound title, Larry, lost it in a mild upset last year to a veteran Mexican fighter named Humberto Soto. His people see this as a no-lose because of Barrera's image and greatness. Are they right?
He has to fight well, win or lose. If he doesn't fight well, it is a lose.
So former 2000 Olympian Juarez in the ring, and now the largely Mexican and Mexican-American crowd prepares to welcome one of the reigning Mexican icons of the sport, Marco Antonio Barrera. 65 prize fights already on his professional dossier for the man called the baby-faced assassin. He's really more poker-faced than baby-faced at this point. And wearing a political statement, vote no on House Resolution 4437.
He told us that he had goosebumps watching De La Hoya defeat Mayorga. But no fighter over the last decade has really been more faithful to the real fighter's code, to take risks, to put it all out there, to give his best. And as he puts it, I aim to please.
Many wonder if Barrera is simply biding time in his career now, waiting for the chance at a rematch against Manny Pacquiao. Is that what it's all about?
Well, I think that's the main thing, because he was right at the time when he lost to Pacquiao, he was becoming the new Julio Cesar Chavez to the Mexican people. And after the loss to Pacquiao, they lost a lot of faith. And so his whole career centers around a rematch with Pacquiao to a great degree. But tonight, I think he's in with an interesting fight. This is the first time that I've saw him fight a fighter that I consider one of the young kids from the amateur program, has had good international experience, and a tremendous short, compact puncher. So it's a different look for him tonight.
We asked Barrera yesterday whether he thought Juarez's best punch was his left hook or his straight right hand, and the answer was both. We'll see if Barrera was right as we go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Staples Center, Los Angeles, California, USA, Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions is proud to present the featured bout of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship of the World. Brought to you in association with Main Events, sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino and the King of Beers, Budweiser. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Chairman Marty Keller, Executive Director Armando Garcia, WBC President Jose Suleiman. The three judges at ringside scoring this contest are Dwayne Ford, Anek Hongtongkam, and Ken Morita. And when the bell rings, the man inside the ring in charge of the action, referee Raul Caiz Sr. And now, for the thousands in attendance here at Staples Center, and for the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the multicolored trunks, official weight, 129 pounds. Since capturing an Olympic silver medal, his professional record now stands at 25 victories, including 18 knockouts, with only one defeat. From Houston, Texas, the challenger, Ricardo Rocky Juarez. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue with white, official weight 129 1/4 pounds. Professional record 61 victories, including 42 knockouts with 4 defeats and 1 no decision. Damas y caballeros de Ciudad de Mexico, the 4-time world champion, the reigning, defending WBC super featherweight champion of the world, the baby face assassin, Marco Antonio Barrera.
Marco. Rocky. Ok, muchachos, necesitan instrucciones allá abajo. I give you instructions downstairs. Both your trunks are a little high, los calzones están un poquito alto. Aquí está bien, dense la mano y buena suerte a los dos.
Barrera is a 3.5-to-1 favorite, but among many boxing experts, there is almost a premonition that Rocky Juarez is a much better fighter than that reflects.
And I am one of those, Larry.
If there's a weakness in Juarez's scenario here, it is that he does not have a history of fighting at a fast pace. Fighting at a slow pace, trying to set up power punches, may be difficult against Barrera, who is so skilled as a counterpuncher and has so much game after 16 and a half years in the business. Barrera starts out with his jab. Rocky Juarez fires a wide left hook.
I'm going to watch very closely this fight so I don't make a mistake on what happens when who gets knocked down with what hand this time.
Hadn't happened before, Emmanuel. Maybe it was just too quick. Barrera starts off backing Juarez up with the jab. Now Rocky determines to come forward. One question in the mind of everybody yesterday: who wins the jabbing contest early? So far it's Barrera, and he sets up 2 uppercuts and a right hand across the top. So already sees Barrera shows Juarez the multiplicity of his punch delivering skill.
But both of these guys are punching very short, accurate punches and very powerful punches.
Barrera's ability to be first with the jab, even against longer-armed opponents in the past, has been a key.
Already there's the beginning of a welt, I believe, under Juarez's right eye from those stiff jabs.
But for the most part, Juarez is doing a very good job of getting away from a lot of the punches of Barrera, and Barrera's punching and looking very sharp tonight.
And Juarez scored over the top with a hard right hand. Now gets his jab past Barrera's. So Juarez has had a couple of moments here in round 1, particularly that right hand over the top. Barrera looking exceptionally calm as always.
Rocky presents probably one of the biggest punches that I recall seeing Barrera fight, and he punches very short, accurate punches. The punches are not long.
Which is why Barrera said to us, fighting a puncher, my jab becomes more important.
Yeah, and he's boxing beautiful and punching very short, accurate punches himself.
This is the stalking, persistent style of Juarez. It is not the relentless style he may need.
Good jab by Juarez, stuck it right into the mouth of Barrera. Now Barrera steps inside and rips Juarez with a left hook. Juarez with a right over the top.
But, you know, Barrera rolls his shoulder very good where it looks like he's getting hit with punches, but he rolls very good.
Oh, and a perfect jab with a solid uppercut by Barrera. That might be enough to salt away the round. If you were looking for something to score in the last 30 seconds, Barrera provided the flurry. As we go to the... All right, you saw the cut over Rocky Juarez's right eye. He's got a brilliant cut man in Joe Souza. Emmanuel Stewart, how dangerous is that cut?
I don't think it's dangerous right now at this stage right now, and particularly on that side of the face where most of the blows are not landing. Most of the jabs that's coming from Barrera is going to be landing at Juarez's left eye.
CompuBox numbers in round 1. Barrera 19 out of 71. Juarez 7 out of 38. And as Larry alluded to, as I mentioned earlier, 38 punches around isn't enough for Juarez to put pressure on Barrera continuously. He's got to consider letting his hands go more than that. 2 good body punches by Juarez, then he came back upstairs with the jab.
Barrera is very consistent with his jab. He doesn't shoot it for a power punch all the time. Sometimes he uses it just as a probe, just to keep you busy. And then see how you react to the jab, and then he'll know how to shoot his power punch.
We've talked in the past about how deceptively long-armed Shane Mosley is. Barrera's the same way. You look at that body, you don't expect the jab to come out as far as it does.
No, you don't. I mean, that's the one thing that people overlook. He continually jabs nearly all of his fights.
Stop! Break! Atrás de la cabeza no, hijo. Atrás de la cabeza no. Manos libres, tienen golpes. Hands are free, gentlemen. Punch.
Juarez trying to get in some body work.
Hands are free, manos
As
libres.
they are at
Watch
close
your head, Rocky.
quarters.
Cuidado con la cabeza, Rocky.
Barrera in the past has been brilliant at close quarters, particularly in his 3 fights against Derek Morales. And there you see why. As he bangs Juarez with a couple of body shots, rips an uppercut, and moves the American fighter back. Now Juarez bulls Barrera back onto the ropes, looking to put Barrera in jail, and Barrera turns him around and rips him with the right hand.
Rocky, not behind the back of the head.
Rocky's holding on pretty good. He's holding his own in these exchanges right here. As a matter of fact, he might have a slight edge in some of those exchanges because he's a much more compact puncher.
So Barrera moves back to distance and goes back to firing his jab.
Very wise. He's getting that zone again where he can punch and get in and out.
Straight right hand landed for Barrera. First time he's pierced the guard of Juarez with a straight right. Right hand over the top, glancing blow, but Juarez got it onto the chin of Barrera. And there's a good left hook by Juarez, and Barrera's left hook was partially blocked.
Juarez is a very good puncher, particularly with short left hooks.
Lead left hook for Barrera lands. Juarez short with the right. Barrera jabbing twice to create distance. Now there's blood coming from the nose of Marco Antonio Barrera. No doubt the product of that brilliant inside left hook thrown by Juarez.
So the champ catches one right on the nose, and blood spurts forth.
If you're in Juarez's corner, the biggest concern you have to have is the hope that he doesn't get tired emotionally and mentally as the fight goes on, because he's so charged up at this stage, and Barrera is so relaxed still. And Barrera realizes now that fighting in close is dangerous with Juarez, so now he's trying to start boxing more.
CompuBox numbers for round 2. Barrera slowed to 11 out of 56 after 19 of 71 in round 1. Juarez stepped it up, 12 out of 48. That big left hook that brought the blood from Barrera's nose might have won the round for Rocky. Obviously, we'll be bringing Harold Letterman's scorecard a little bit later on. Rocky Juarez becoming much more assertive now with his jab and backing Barrera up with the left hook. Barrera effectively sidesteps Juarez's right. And just as Emmanuel Stewart predicted, Barrera choosing to create more space in round 2 and stick with the boxing.
Juarez is applying a lot of pressure, and his punches are so accurate that Barrera isn't used to that. Most of the guys he's fought, the punches have been much wider and he could see them better. But this guy's punching more accurate, and he's catching punches very good.
And so now Barrera seems to feel an urgency to beat Juarez to the punch. Rocky missing with a big left hook. The hope of flooring Barrera with that punch. Barrera picking Juarez's shots off with his gloves here.
Yeah, but Barrera realizes now, I think, that he's got a very serious fight on his hand. Because he has not been able to effectively sustain any really combinations together on Rocky at this stage. He lands 1 or 2, but if he cannot put 3 and 4 punches together, which is what he does very well.
One thing he's managed to do in this round is to get blood to flow from Juarez's nose. So now both fighters have the trickle of blood from their nostrils. The result of good, hard inside punching. There's a terrific body shot with the left hand by Barrera. Tries to bring a right hand over the top.
I think it was actually on the belt line, and that's why they really a low blow.
And there's an uppercut by Barrera as well. Now Juarez comes back with a jab and a right hand to the body. Barrera showing a lot of respect for Rocky Juarez here in round 3.
Yes, and that's a very smart thing because Juarez can punch. Right now, Barrera's getting away from most of the right hands from Rocky by rolling his shoulder. But as the fight goes on, he might misjudge and get caught.
Let's go.
Juarez is staying disciplined, not leaving himself open, not opening up either.
10 seconds. Stop at the bow.
Now Barrera trying to steal the round, and he gets ripped by a left hook. Barrera off balance as he goes into the rope. Fights back to end the round, but Rocky Juarez, with the biggest shot of the fight, almost knocks Barrera down.
Here is Juarez's left hook. The punch that says, I think I'll try on your crown for a moment here.
And you may see more of those punches coming.
You heard Rudy Perez in Barrera's corner saying, box for heaven's sake. CompuBox numbers in 3. Juarez 10 out of 54, including the big left hook. Barrera 8 out of 59. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, 29-28, 2 rounds to 1. Marco Antonio Barrera. Jim, I thought he won the first 2 rounds with that left jab, circling nicely, boxing nicely. Rocky Juarez has just got to jump on him, force him back, and land some good shots. In round 3, Rocky Juarez did just that. He got aggressive, didn't let Barrera get off, jumped on him, hurt him, won the 3rd round, 2-1 Barrera.
Barrera has just turned the fight back around with a series of vicious body shots.
Just what I was going to say. Being the fighter that he is, he realizes now that he's maybe in jeopardy of losing or the momentum of the fight turning towards Rocky. So now he's stepping it up.
The body shots were sizzling. They put Barrera back in charge momentarily. Major swelling around the left eye of Marco Antonio Barrera. The kind of swelling that could lead to trouble later on in the fight.
And he's in there facing, to me, the most dangerous puncher that I've ever saw him face. It's been a long time since he fought Junior Jones.
Even bigger than Pacquiao?
I think so, because Pacquiao, you can see his punches. Because Pacquiao basically winds up and shoots a hard, 1-2 with a straight right and a hard left, and you see it coming. But this guy, Rocky, is very deceiving. He gets very close and changes very short punches.
There's tremendous energy in the crowd for both fighters. We're hearing dueling chants. Rocky, Rocky, Rocky. Marco, Marco, Marco.
You have a Mexican crowd and 2 Mexican fighters.
Break. Respira. Take a deep breath. Focus. Deep breath. Let's go.
Well, 1 Mexican and 1 Mexican-American.
Yeah. But most of these Mexican fighters have spent so much time in recent years training and living here. And Barrera, up until now, for the most part, he did all of his training mainly in California.
Well, and Barrera used to be Los Angeles' trademark fighter when he was promoted by the Great Western Forum and fighting his fights there. That's where he fought Kennedy McKinney in the first Boxing After Dark, Feb 3, 1996. Another sizzling right hand over the top by Barrera, who has taken it upon himself to try to reassume command of the fight here in round 4.
Yeah, Juarez has not done enough following up what happened at the end of the last round so far.
Barrera gets away with a body shot that was below the belt, and referee Raul Calles Sr. says, hey, that one was too low, Marco. So 1 warning for Barrera. He's been flirting with that warning, and perhaps purposely so. They trade jabs, and they both land crushingly.
These guys are throwing more power punches for little guys than Rockman and Tony was throwing probably in their entire fight.
10 seconds. Stop at the bow.
So what are you saying?
These guys are punching where the other guys was more like trying to go for a decision. The heavyweights are going for a decision. These guys are going for a knockout.
That was an excellent round for Marco Antonio Barrera, who showed you what a champion does when he's challenged.
To fight at a harder, faster pace. He's fighting in his style and doing well, but he has not yet turned it up.
CompuBox numbers in the 4th round. Barrera 12 out of 57, Juarez 6 out of 48. 6 out of 48. Those are the numbers that won't do it for Juarez. The belief is that he must put more pressure on Barrera. However, he's landed big shots from time to time and certainly almost knocked Barrera down at the end of the third. Marco continuing to fight aggressively now to try to keep Juarez away.
But what Barrera does good is when he puts combinations together, they just flow so smoothly, and he has not been able to do that in this fight. He's not been able to put combinations. He lands 1 or 2 shots. So far, the most effective thing has been his jab.
All right, stop, break.
It's hard to stand in and land a 4-punch combination when you're worried about what's coming back.
That's correct, especially with a guy with a good tight defense like Rocky has.
Manos libres, tienen golpes. Hands are free, gentlemen. All right, stop, break. Let's go. Deep breath. Respiren para atrás los dos.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. As Rocky Juarez stalks the champion Marco Antonio Barrera from corner to corner.
Manos libres, hands are free.
Good left hook upstairs by Juarez, right behind Barrera's ear.
All right, stop, break. Deep breath. Respiren los dos.
Rocky Juarez is pretty quick with his left hook. Barrera trying to back him off with the right hand to the body. Left and right upstairs. Juarez lands the jab. Barrera goes straight in anyway.
This is what Barrera does that you talked so much about before, Emmanuel.
Yeah, he's
boxing, and suddenly he comes in, throws 3 or 4 punches, backs you up. Now back to boxing.
Well, he sees the guys pushing him around while he's boxing and dominating, so he changed up and then he starts going forward.
Barrera getting going with the left hand, lands a left hook and then follows with 3 or 4 jabs right in a row. Moves before Juarez can find it. Rocky comes forward with 1 left hook.
Barrera's best punch so far still in this fight has been the jab.
Hands are free, manos libres. Manos libres, hands are free, gentlemen.
Barrera has to watch out when they separate here that Juarez doesn't snap him with a left hook. And Barrera obviates that by firing his own punches and landing a right hand.
Okay, Rock.
There you see Barrera doing what he does best. Keeping a distance and working his jab.
Fairly astonishingly, the CompuBox numbers for the 5th round are exactly the same as for the 4th. Barrera 12 out of 57, Juarez 6 out of 48. Same numbers as the last time. So we're seeing the fight settle into a sameness here, which doesn't mean that it's easy, only that Barrera is managing to maintain a tactical control while staving off a stiff challenge so far. Juarez lands a jab.
Definitely a stiff challenge and a dangerous challenge, too. Juarez is still punching with full force whenever he gets punches.
And he landed a big left hook, to which Barrera answered with a jab and a straight right hand. Barrera's uppercuts are scoring inside. Juarez could score with uppercuts himself, but hasn't thrown them.
Rocky knows that he can hurt Barrera. He doesn't appear to be putting enough pressure on to get those big punches in.
All right, stop, break. Respiren los dos. Take a deep breath. Come on, let's go. Box.
Blood streaming from his left nostril. Barrera keeps firing the jab. Juarez winging a left hook, but falls short with it. The right hand of the body caught skin, but Barrera is tactically in command as he circles away from Juarez and chooses his punches to keep Rocky back. It is a tenuous command at best. Juarez explosive and Barrera ducking the right hand there. Good uppercut inside by Barrera. Juarez lands 2 jabs as Marco backs away. Good uppercut by Juarez. Finally, he throws one. Now Barrera lands another uppercut shot, and Juarez counters with a left hook upstairs.
Yeah, but Barrera has been boxing beautiful, and he's better get back to that zone again. Is he getting in close? He's getting in a dangerous territory with Rocky, because Rocky is still, I think, a more effective short-distance puncher than he is.
Barrera going inside to take his chances on trying to take some of the steam out We've got a prize fight breaking out in Los Angeles.
Good short right hand over top. And he's following through right now. It's going to be interesting to see if Juarez can make it through this round.
Barrera almost spat his mouthpiece, put it back in himself, and went back to punching.
He's mixing up his combinations to the body and to the head.
Marco Antonio Barrera seemed to know yesterday it would be a tough fight. Now he seems finally to be beginning to enjoy it.
Yes, it's one of the best fights I've saw him fight in a long time, too.
All right, stop, break, nice and relaxed. Deep breath, respira los dos, 10 segundos, 10 seconds.
It's the sheer activity of the older fighter, and Juarez backs Barrera off with a big left hook and lands another big shot before the round is over. What a fight. 12-round championship fight in Los Angeles. The king of the 130-pound weight class, Marco Antonio Barrera in the blue trunks, against the man in the Mexican flag and the American flag, Rocky Juarez of Houston, Texas. A good, tight battle with hard punching on both sides. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, 5 rounds to 1. 59-55, Marco Antonio Barrera. Jim, I gotta tell you something. The defining line, the defining spot for a low blow is the navel, okay? Now, since you can't see the navel on Rocky Juarez, if Marco Antonio Barrera plunks him with a left hook on the waistband, it's a legal punch. Raul Caiz didn't say a thing about the 4 or 5 left hooks Barrera landed to the waistband to Juarez in round 5. I think they were good shots. 5-1, Barrera.
Juarez walks into a couple of jabs. Barrera eats a jab as well.
Barrera seems to be getting his stride right now, and the experience is beginning to show right here now.
He just knows at which to step up and seize command.
Yeah, he's a great fighter. I mean, and it's still amazing to see him fight on this level of competition 10 years when he was fighting 10 years ago in brawls and still out here fighting like this.
Juarez ripping Barrera with a hard left hook to the body.
You would think the younger man would start to come on soon. Has he been holding back just to do that?
No, I just think this is the level of competition is just so high that no one can really get a good momentum to going steady. The momentum keep changing.
It's the kind of fight so far in which, even if Juarez loses, his reputation won't be damaged. He's going toe-to-toe and punch for punch with one of the best in the history of the sport. Terrific left hook to the body by Barrera. Now Barrera's mouthpiece is out as he and Juarez go toe-to-toe. And without a mouthpiece, Barrera rips Juarez with an uppercut.
Stop, time.
And referee Raul Caiz steps in to replace the mouthpiece at a moment when they're trading shots.
And just he had to, well, they called it a lull in action. That was not too much of a lull in action.
I'll say. If I'm Juarez, I'm thinking, hey, that was no lull.
But both guys better be careful because Juarez still, even though he's losing, he's still a dangerous little puncher. So
I'll say.
And Barrera knows that too.
It's a lively fight. And Barrera's accustomed to that. His 36 rounds with Eric Morales, time capsule stuff. With Raul Caiz hidden behind Juarez, Barrera gets in another left-hand shot right under the navel on the belt line, the way Harold Letterman described it. Hard right hand over the top by Barrera.
Barrera's fighting a very smart fight now, moving, changing direction, boxing. That's what makes him such a great fighter. He's so diversified in his skills.
Changing the trajectory on his right hand and throwing a Lennox Lewis.
Yes, doing everything.
Mano libres, has a freeze.
I was about to say that, you know, Juarez, for his type of fighter, has to invest body punching in the first half of the fight to wear down the boxer, but he hasn't done that.
Want to see how to steal around? Marco Antonio Barrera just showed you how to steal around. That was perfect.
Okay,
experience.
Good run. Stole it fair and square.
Don't stay in the ropes. Don't.
Box numbers in the 7th. Barrera 18 out of 55. Juarez 7 out of 68. Rocky threw more punches. Barrera is the more accurate and sharper puncher, punch for punch. But Juarez has landed the 2 biggest shots in the fight, including a left hook that almost knocked Barrera down in the 3rd round.
Time out. Go back over. Come here. Mucha vaselina. Quítale la vaselina. Quítale la vaselina. Okay, está bien. Okay. Time in. Let's go. Box.
He rubbed some Vaseline off of Barrera's face.
If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would see Barrera moving and boxing like this, I would say you're crazy. I cannot believe the ring generalship that he's showing tonight and making adjustments back and forth throughout this fight. Changing into an aggressive slugger when it's necessary and then boxing at times. And as you said later, Jim, he actually won the last round by flurry.
Well, and all this time,
go ahead.
He's been with the same trainer since he's 7 years old.
A trainer who has no other particular cachet in the sport. His only real hard right hand by Juarez knocked Barrera's head back. That's another reminder to Barrera as to how dangerous Juarez can be.
Yeah, even though he's boxing, he's always got to stay alert, and I'm thinking that he is aware of that too, because all the time Juarez is punching, and he never loses his punching power as the fight goes on either. Unlike a lot of good punchers, they punch earlier, they're dangerous, but after halfway through the fight, they're not that dangerous. Juarez punches hard all the way through. And that's unusual. An experienced fighter like Barrera to lose his mouthpiece twice.
Three times. He put it back in himself the first time he lost it. He caught him in his glove and put it back in. Now twice the referees had to stop the action for Barrera to put it back in.
Yeah, and I
leads you to wonder if his mouth is hurt.
Well, either that or whether he's breathing harder than we think he is, whether this has been really hard on him because he's been fighting with his mouth open and his and you can just see him laboring slightly at times.
Possibly the mouthpiece could be a new mouthpiece that doesn't fit good too. That happens often too.
And apparently Barrera's telling his corner he wants a new mouthpiece. It'll be interesting to see if they have an option. Sometimes fighters fit the mouthpiece because they have a broken jaw. But Barrera isn't fighting as though he has a broken jaw.
But so, something is wrong. The way he's holding his mouth, he's not biting down firmly on his mouthpiece. As if there is some problem with the way the mouthpiece is fitting on. Maybe there is an injury to his jaw.
Well, it wouldn't be out of the question that Juarez broke his jaw with one of those left hooks.
That's a rough
Those
fight.
are hard punches. This has been a waiting game round for Barrera. Juarez landed a super hard right-hand shot in the first minute of the round. Barrera has seemed more conscious of simply getting through it than trying to win this round, perhaps believing he already has a comfortable margin on the scorecard.
Either there's some kind of physical problem that we may not know of.
And we're told that referee Raul Caiz Sr. has told Marco Antonio Barrera.
The curious thing here is that it's not it's not strategic. It doesn't look like he's hurt. There's something else going on. I don't know if it's what you say, Emmanuel, maybe a bad mouthpiece, or whether it's an injury or whether he's just winded.
Barrera takes a right hand over the top from Juarez as round 9 begins. 2/3 of the way through the fight. Juarez keeping the pressure on Marco Antonio Barrera, who has held up very well so far. But there's the mystery of the constantly dropped mouthpiece. And now a penalty point looming if Barrera loses it again.
You know, and also it's interesting to watch it. Juarez seems to have more confidence now. They seem to be fighting with much more enthusiasm and drive, where Marco is basically like concerned with trying to win a decision now and staying out of harm's way.
Well, Juarez knows he's fighting from behind, and if you listen to the corner, they suggest that this was the plan to come on late in the fight.
It'll be interesting to see if Barrera feels vulnerable, and he seems to, how he picks his spots the rest of the way. He's going to have to score some. He can't just keep backing off a la Oscar De La Hoya against Felix Trinidad.
And that's exactly seemed like the mindset that he's into now. And Juarez knows that also.
Question is, will Juarez take advantage and keep the pressure on the way Trinidad did against De La Hoya down the stretch? If the other guy isn't doing much, you don't need to land all the time. You just need to keep after it. That's how De La Hoya beat Pernell Whitaker in the late rounds.
Yeah, and particularly in Las Vegas. They really like you to finish strong in Las Vegas.
We're in Los Angeles here.
Yep.
The culture is similar. Barrera with an uppercut between Juarez's guard.
Now I see some Las Vegas judges over there. I see Dwayne Ford.
Rocky Juarez has been aggressive the entire fight, backing Barrera up from the second round onward. It was cat and mouse in the first round, but by the second round, the pattern was established. Juarez pressuring, Barrera countering, and fighting tactically. Now Barrera unveils the jab again. This round could be stealable for Barrera, although Juarez would seem to be the owner up to now. Big right hand by Juarez.
Very hard to hit Barrera with a good right hand. He rolls his shoulders on those right hands.
Good body shot by Barrera. Juarez felt it.
But still, the jab has been the biggest factor in this round here still.
10 seconds. Uppercuts by Barrera, leaving Juarez looking for an opportunity to step in. Rocky comes in and lands his left hook. The momentum in the fight seems to belong to Juarez.
Yes, but I still think Barrera won the round, but the momentum is going towards Juarez.
It was a real close round, Rocky. Got the first thing. You let him get off it. You can't let him.
I put a lot of things aside to the Pacquiao fight because of so many surrounding circumstances with that fight, but this is different right here.
Do you think Barrera underestimated Rocky Juarez?
To some degree, and I said I wanted to see him with a good young fighter from the amateur program with good experience internationally who was young and fresh and could punch, and this is what I'm seeing tonight, and it's a little different.
Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, the burning question is, did Rocky Juarez give up too many in the early rounds? 87, 84, 6 rounds to 3, Marco Antonio Barrera. Jim, I've given Rocky Juarez rounds 8 and 9. I think he's the aggressor. I think he's landing the harder shots. Barrera's left jab ain't doing a darn thing, and Rocky's winning these late rounds. Look at this. He's walking him down, landing the stronger shots, and backing Marco up. 6-3, Barrera.
I have the same score. Of course, if it ends in a draw, Barrera keeps his title. There is, if Juarez comes along, a rematch clause for this fight. But this is the definition of a young, strong guy going after the older guy.
And Juarez lands an uppercut and a big left hook. Barrera got in a body shot. Blood streaming from the nose of Marco Antonio Barrera. He's going to have to fight down the stretch, and he realizes it now.
But even though he's probably lost his last round, I still have given those rounds by jabs. He's still been boxing, and the most effective punch still, for the most part, has been the jab.
Good right hand and a body shot by Barrera.
Just when you don't expect it, Barrera comes back with one of those perfect combinations. Jab, right cross, knocks Juarez into the ropes. Now Juarez gets in another left hook, but Barrera ducked the right hand. Barrera trying to go back to using his jab to set up something big. Left hook lands up top for Marco Antonio. Juarez with 2 body shots. Rocky looking to land another big left hook.
Well, remember, Juarez told us that one of the things he liked Barrera so much about watching his career was that he had an extra gear when he needed it. Does he still have it?
Barrera mostly circling away from Juarez's left hook, steps back to his right and lands a right hand. Juarez over the top of the right hand that draws blood from Barrera's nose.
Look at Barrera's mouth.
Barrera is stunned by this. There's no question in my mind something's wrong with his mouth.
Yeah, out of the mouthpiece. Something he cannot hold that mouthpiece to.
He's trying to hold the mouthpiece in. He doesn't want the 1-point penalty. Close round. Both guys have landed some big shots. Barrera seems determined to try to win it.
Go.
Here you can see they're in close here. You can see, as I was saying earlier, that Juarez is very good with short, compact punches in close. And once again, you see him getting close again. He's crowding and getting closer to Barrera than Barrera wants him to be. And therefore, he doesn't have the chance to see the punches come in as much.
If ever there was a time for Rocky to be Rocky, here it is.
Punches in round 10. Barrera 12 out of 54. Juarez 19 out of 72, and 15 of Juarez's connects with power shots. There's another huge left hook. Barrera's corner seems to think that Barrera may have a broken nose. I personally suspect there might be something wrong with his mouth. Juarez lands 2 jabs, and Barrera almost slips in the center of the ring. You heard Rudy Perez say to Barrera, stay off the ropes. Try to stay in the center of the ring, where he's got to try to stay away from Juarez's left hook. Jab, jab, jab by the champion. Rocky Juarez trying to take over the top spot in the 130-pound division. If he can beat one of the reigning icons of the sport.
Rock is fighting a good fight, but he should have a little bit more intensiveness in his punching now. He should be a little bit more urgent. He's winning the fight possibly the last 3 rounds, but still not fighting with the urgency that he should have.
Barrera with a chance to score now. Pins Juarez against the ropes. Goes back to the body, got away with one on the belt line. Juarez knocks him back with a right and a left. A full-on fist fight. They're trading hard shots at close range. Uppercut by Barrera. Juarez with a left hook. Shot for shot. Good body shot by Barrera. Good body shot by Juarez. Barrera retaliates on the other side. Juarez with a right uppercut.
This is the brawling Barrera now.
4-punch combination by Barrera. And a left to the big right hand over the top.
That's good. Barrera's been in so many of these type fights. Kennedy and Kennedy, all those. He's going back to that again. And the Morales fights. But it's just right now, this guy's just so strong and young.
Juarez's energy level rises now as the 11th round comes down the stretch.
Such a compact puncher. And as long as Barrera's fighting in close like that, he's got problems.
Barrera trying to rip him to the body one more time. Juarez looking stronger now than he did in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. Barrera trying to resurrect the old magic one more time. Backs Juarez off with a perfect combination. Left to the body, right across the top. They trade shots to end the round, and both men score heavily.
Oh, my God. And Barrera's used to that, though. He's been in so many of those type fights. This is going to be a very interesting final round.
Come on, let's get some water there.
We may be looking at it.
Is it time for the young lion to take over? Or can the old lion hang on?
Well, it's going to be an interesting fight, and we know that Barrera knows what to do in those type situations. And if I was Juarez, I would go all out, be as physical as he could, and just be a total animal. And don't try to be too intelligent. Do a lot of pushing, bumping it with your shoulders, everything to make it a physical fight.
A tumultuous 11th round. Harold Letterman believes Barrera won it. It could turn out to be the pivotal round in the fight. CompuBox numbers to this point. Barrera 157 out of 575. Juarez has thrown 579. 4 more punches, has landed 121. Juarez, by and large, landing the harder shots. Barrera, by and large, with a boxing edge.
Somebody to clean this up. Rudy, ven a limpiar aquí, por favor. Marco, quédate en la esquina.
Well, the referee picked a heck of a time to try to clean up the middle of the ring.
2:14 to go in the 12th.
What happened between rounds?
Does this favor Barrera because it gives him a rest at a totally opportune time?
I would think it would favor him.
It's got to be.
And
He's 32. Juarez is 26. Barrera's the one who's had 65 fights. Juarez with 2 huge right hands.
But you're going to see Barrera fight good this round, I think, still. Even though Barrera seems to be more worn out, but I think he's going to do everything he can to try to win this round to make sure that there's no way he's going to lose his title. Even though he's won it, as far as I'm concerned, and most people, just knowing the warrior in him.
Barrera trying to keep the jab out there, mix it up, keep Juarez off of him. Uses the jab to pop Juarez back. Lands a straight right hand. Barrera landing the cleaner punches. A big left hook by Juarez. Barrera's become accustomed now to walking through that damage. Marco Antonio Barrera's face is busted up. Shows the kind of punishment he if ever taken in his career. Only Manny Pacquiao strafed him like this.
Left hook. Barrera landed there, now straight. Juarez is getting a little bit wild.
Right, even though Barrera may be looking tired and rest for wear, he still is landing the punches for the most part.
Rayon Taveras, Juarez's trainer, told him 2 rounds ago that he needed a knockout to win. If Rocky comes apart down the stretch, it could be because he'll be trying for the knockout. Big left hook by Barrera. Huge shot. What a courageous show by both men.
15 seconds left, and here is Marco Antonio Barrera, all those years later, on his toes, exchanging punches with a strong young lion.
You okay? Let's go. Box.
Well, Barrera was originally supposed to fight Jesus Chavez. Chavez came down with an arm injury. They looked into the possibility of fighting Juan Diaz. Finally, the fight falls to Rocky Juarez, who has taken every advantage of the opportunity to show his stuff and still may be beaten by one of the greatest of all time.
Very, very good fight. Great finish.
As I said earlier, when Marco Antonio Barrera is in the ring, it is always an occasion.
Of Staples Center. Almost every time we're here, we see a tumultuous prize fight. It started with De La Hoya Mosley 1. Lennox Lewis against Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly Klitschko against Corey Sanders. Glenn Johnson against Antonio Tarver. Over and over and over, we've seen it here. This was magical stuff, and you can see on the face of the great veteran Barrera. Quickly now, let's take a look at the 3 judges who are faced with the responsibility of choosing a winner. Dwayne Ford, as Emmanuel Stewart mentioned, one of the great Nevada veterans. Notable fight, scored. Taylor Hopkins won 115, 113 for Taylor. He was in the majority. Jerry Roth was the one judge who dissented from that decision. Anak Hong Tong Kam, 63 years old, from Thailand, many title fights, was here for the first De La Hoya Mosley fight in this building and scored it correctly, in our view, 115, 113 for Mosley. And 71-year-old Ken Morita of Japan was one of those who found Humberto Soto beating Rocky Juarez, unanimous decision, last year in Detroit. Juarez looking the fresher of the 2 fighters as he walks around the ring in anticipation of the decision. Barrera was put through hell physically in this fight and may have pulled out the victory anyway.
Yeah, I thought it was a very impressive fight on both guys' part. Barrera's a great fighter. He did what he had to do to win the fight. And some nights you say, I'm not going to look that great, but I'll win this fight tonight and get the chance to look great tomorrow night. But he did what he had to do to win the fight.
And certainly, if Barrera is the winner, and there's no certainty to that, I mean, it takes at this moment a little bit longer than is normally the case to tabulate the scores, and we'll see. But if Barrera's the winner, this does nothing to diminish the reputation of Rocky Juarez. If anything, it embellishes it.
I think it enhances both of the guys' reputation.
Michael Buffer has the paper and the microphone. Let's find out who won.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Dwayne Ford scores the contest 115-113, Juarez. Anak Hong Tong Kam scores it 115-113, Barrera. Ken Morita scores the bout 114-114, a 3-way split. This bout is a draw.
And despite the response of the crowd, frankly, not an unsatisfying draw in this instance.
No, I could accept that if I was in either corner.
It's a compliment to Juarez, and maybe, given the damage he sustained, a compliment to Barrera too.
Well, Barrera fought a good fight because he was with a different type fighter that he hasn't fought.
Let's take a look at final punch stat numbers. CompuBox calculations throughout the fight found Barrera landing 33 more punches, throwing 16 fewer. Higher percentage of connects for Barrera. Power punches told most of the story of the fight. Barrera had the edge. All right, Czech will talk about jabs. Barrera had the edge in jabs, landing 54 more and throwing 86 more and doubling Juarez's connect percentage on the jab. Barrera, of course, with 2.5-inch longer arms than Juarez, could be a factor in that. Of course, he's more committed to his jab as well. Rocky was looking to set up power punches, notably the left hook. And he landed 21 more power shots in the fight by CompuBox count, throwing 102 more during the course of the 12-round battle. And Larry Merchant stands by with still the kingpin of the 130-pound weight class, but by a narrow thread, Marco Antonio Barrera.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations on retaining your title, Marco Antonio. You've been in the ring for 17 years as a professional. This is your first draw. Do you think this was the right decision?
Felicidades en retener tu título. Estuvo en el ring por 17 años. ¿Crees que esto fue la decisión justa?
Bueno, yo creo que sí, respeto la decisión de los jueces. Rocky es un excelente peleador, lo demostró, por lo cual tiene 26 años. Pero bueno, gracias a Dios y los jueces, pues todo salió así.
Yeah, I thought it was a fair decision. I always said he was a tough guy. I respect the judge's decision. That's what it was.
Tell us about the trouble you had with your mouthpiece. Do you think there's something physically wrong with your jaw, or was it something else?
Dino qué pasaba con tu protector. ¿Tienes algo con la quijada o qué pasaba con tu boca?
No, lo que pasa es que es nuevo, quise estrenar, pero desgraciadamente creo que nos cayó la novatez. Ya después me lo cambiaron por el de siempre y todo siguió igual.
Yeah, no, there was nothing wrong with my jaw and thing. I had a new mouthpiece. We tried to use a new one, but we saw that it didn't fit, so we went back to the old one.
Hard, young puncher. How hard did he hit?
Fue un peleador joven, fuerte, poderoso. ¿Qué tal fuerte pegaba?
No, sí, yo lo he dicho desde que se agarró la pelea. Lo dije a toda la gente que era uno de los mejores peleadores, juventud, hambre. Y sabía que veníamos por todo eso y bueno, fueron 2 intensos rounds.
Yeah, I told everybody, I knew it from the beginning. We took the fight. This is a tough, young, strong guy, a good puncher. We already knew this.
Compare him to Pacquiao when you fought him. Was this as rough a fight as that was?
¿Comparan a Rocky Juarez con Pacquiao? ¿Esta es una pelea tan difícil como la que tuviste con Pacquiao?
No, yo creo que es diferente, Pacquiao es un gran peleador, pero en su línea. Y Rocky Juarez es uno de los mejores peleadores actualmente.
No, it's still different. Pacquiao is one style, one way, but Rocky Juarez is just a good fighter.
What do you see in your immediate future since Pacquiao and Morales apparently will fight in the fall? Do you want to fight again this year, and who do you have your mind on?
¿Qué tú ves en el futuro cercano, ya que parece que Pacquiao y Morales van a pelear en el otoño? ¿Qué tú ves para ti?
Pues no sé, a ver qué diga el jefe, Oscar de la Hoya y Richard Schaefer. No sé qué digas o qué planes haya.
Yeah, I don't know. Richard Schaefer and Oscar are the ones who are going to decide. We'll see what they say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much again. Thank you, Marco Antonio. And now let's turn to Rocky Juarez. Rocky, did you wait long to get going?
I don't believe I did, and I think I had him going back from the beginning of the fight. Basically, the only punches he was ever really landing was his jab, and I don't think that was enough to win the rounds. But I think fighting here in California and along with the fans, kind of.
It looked to me as if he certainly invested a lot more energy into throwing body punches than you did.
Well, I think he was just trying to stay away. I think I heard him in the first round with a hook, and I think he felt the power, and I think he was just more trying to box rather than making a fight.
Did you think that you, as the young lion here, were going to claw the old lion, and did you really think you were going to get him?
Well, I believe I did. I think getting a draw here in California, and you consider it his backyard along with De La Hoya's backyard, I think, having a draw here in California, I think you can consider that a victory in my part.
So you feel that this is a big statement fight for you against the great Barrera, and that you will move on from here?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was an opportunity to fight for the title against a great champion like Barrera. I would love to do it again, if they give me the opportunity. It was just a great opportunity to be fighting for the title, and I think, I gave it my best. I think I rate myself a B- in this fight, but I still believe I came out with the victory this fight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.